Hello, everybody. It's your favorite YouTuber, Glavaboopin, back here with another deck profile, and today I'm bringing you the DD deck profile. I took this to a regional couple week, I think it was a month back, and got 26th place out of top 50, I think it was. So, let's break it. We'll break down the deck list and everything. I have made some edits since then, obviously, to this stuff that really would have helped me better there than what actually everything else. So, all right, we'll start off with the main deck. So, main deck, I am playing Triple Kepler. Really self-explanatory. He just searches out a contract, or you just search out a contract, which is really great. And then next is a new card that just got brought in. This card is disgusting. So what happens is on place, I can place a contract card from my deck face up, which there's a new contract that you would place. We'll get to that later. But essentially, also, she's in the extra deck, and one of my DD or DDD cards or Dark Contracts is destroyed by battle or card effect. She summons herself from the extra deck to an EMZ or a link zone, that's being a zone that's being pointed to by a link. Sorry, and then she also pops one card on the field. This is all in one, not separate, not an on summon effect to pop, but all in one. But otherwise, a really, really good card. Next, I'm playing one Copernicus or one Copium. Just lets me dump a DD monster, which we have a new non-pendulum monster that you would dump. And I'll get to that here soon as well. We're also playing the one of Ragnarok, old card, but just really good to place with scales. It's a target monster reborn, essentially. And then we're only playing 2 Griffin. Originally, before the sport came out, he was a 3 of. I don't like him at 3. He feels a little bricky. So, I'm sorry for the coughing. I got a backed up throat. But he feels a little bricky. He's great extension when you see him, but as a starter, he's just not there. Then next, we're playing the the Surveyor cards. We're playing triple Scale Surveyor and 1 Count. Scale is just a really great extension. He can modulate to a 4, and then this guy can just search. Really, really great cards. Most of their pendulum effects don't come up, so if you want to, you can read them. But he just becomes a 1. He becomes a pen scale when things are 1 or 0 on my turn, but he's never there in the pen scale anyway. So, and then Surveyor is just an attack game, and then play the 1 Orthos. He's just follow-up tuner support to making a Synchro 8. Or when I take damage, I can special summon him, and then I'm locked in the DDs, but by that point, the lock doesn't matter, and shouldn't matter anyway, because pretty much your whole extra deck is DD cards. And then on the new monster, one of the other new monsters I was talking about is this little guy. This guy's insane. So normally you dump him off of Copium or Copernicus, and then basically what happens is you pop a contract on the field, which you pop usually just your regular Dark Contract, and then summon him out, and then he gains 1 level up to the amount of Dark Contracts you have on field and grave. You can choose. So normally you would have 2, so you can increase him to 4, or you increase him to level 4, which you use him to make the new Xyz. That's gonna be shown here in a bit. And then the last monster is just Necro Slime. Sorry, it's in Italian, but he's just the fusion card, really. There's not much else about him. Just good old fusion. You dump, and he's just there. So, next on for the spells. I know I'm only playing 2 Nightmare Throne. That's another starter. This plays heavily into Drool. I will say about a good 35% of your hands die to Drool, but most of the time you're fine. It really just depends on what you're opening. But otherwise, if they have no Droll, or you can use this to bait an Ash, it's there. But if they have no interaction, this is just full combo. It's just gas. And then onto the contracts. We play the the gate, just super simple. Searches a DD monster, and a lot of the times with this deck, as some might know, if it says DD monster, because of how the wording is, you can search out a triple D, which is really weird with this deck, just because rulings and everything else is just awkward. And then one of the last contracts we're running is Zero King. This is the new spell that they added. This thing lets you pop a scale or pop a DD card and then summon from deck. So what I mentioned with Queen Machinex is you would pop her, summon from deck, which gets her right into the extra deck, which is where you want her to be. And then off of that, normally you would summon Copernicus, dump Lance, and then go off from there. This card is just really good. And then they all have the effect you burn for 1,000 on your standby phase, unfortunately. And then the last main deck card for Engine is this. This is a pseudo D barrier. Except it can't do anything to rituals and links. This won me games because your opponent can't Xyz ritual or Xyz fusion or synchro, the stuff they have on field, and they can't do anything with my stuff. They can't tribute or steal, target, whatever. They basically can't do anything with my stuff, so it's also protection, but it's only as long as I have scales, which in this deck, you're gonna have scales. So it's really powerful. And then onto non-engine, we're playing 3 Ash, 3 Valor, and then 3 Fua. I took out Nibiru's for Valors. I personally didn't really like Nibiru in the main. I prefer him in the side. I personally think it's just straight better. There was really never a time where I felt like Nibiru came up too much. I mean, it came up in my last round against a Dragon Tail player, but I still lost. That was game 2, and then I took game 3. But Valor would have came up way more because it would have slowed him down enough to where I could have actually played through his board and got a 2-0. So I personally think that this is just, Valor's just better, but then Ash and Fua, self-explanatory, not much else. And then for the spells, we're playing 1 Talents, and then I don't have them in my deck at the moment because I can't find them, but 1 Call By, 1 Cross Out. This is a 42 main. Talents is just great for if they hand trap you, because you don't really care about Ash and Droll and some like Valor too, or even Ogre sometimes, which barely anyone's playing Ogre evidently, but Ogre stops it down. But if your opponent's doing like Dragon Tail or K9 and they play into a Talents, huge. And then Call By and Cross Out are there for that Fua, because you really don't want to play in the Fua. You do too much summoning from the extra deck that Fua slows you down. I mean, if they get a really bad hand to where they don't get any hand traps in that draw, then I guess you could just go full in and set up your board with the Dark Contract trap and then really lock them out. But, the chances of that happening are rare, and the board you would normally end on is the Xyz Machinex and, some other stuff and pass, trying only giving them like 2 draws at most. But, it still doesn't feel good when you don't have any answers to Fua, unfortunately. And then the traps, triple Imperm, and then triple Dominus. Dominus is a no-brainer in this deck because every attribute you play in this deck doesn't get affected by Dominus, except for Fua, obviously. Fua and Valor, but you're firing those long before you fire a Dominus. More than likely. And, obviously for the side-out game, game 2 or game 3, if you're going second, or no, you're not. If you're going second, then it's like that's cool. But if you're going first, then you're obviously siding out like Fua's, and then probably Valor's for other techs and everything else that could help you. But these cards are just no-brainers for this deck because again, you don't really get locked out in the attributes. Now, extra decks. We're gonna start off with the links. 1 Ragnarok. This stops hand effects and gives you an additional Pendulum Summon by popping a card. This thing is disgusting. He is great. And then Gilgamesh, when I said that you never ever will not have stuff in your, like, 2 pens for that trap. This is why this guy is great. You're using both technically in a whole turn, because you're using one for the pen effect, or to place the pendulums, and then you're using him again for a Machinex, because this deck is all gas, no brakes. Also, he is used to chain block as well, so when you link summon him, so he's there. And then moving on to the Xyz, 2 Machinex, just in case, because sometimes you do have to tap the brakes a little bit, or you still have stuff left in your extra deck that you can still make this guy. Other than that, he's great. I only needed to make a second one once there. This guy I'm thinking of cutting. I've never, ever gotten him off with the on summon effect. He's usually just there as a spell trap nuke, and there's never a time where I need to nuke the spell traps to win, because at that point it feels really bad because you got to commit 2 level 8 bodies and you're probably losing at that point. And then 1 Caesar. This guy, I know people know the summon negation and stuff, but him giving attacks to your DD monsters is huge, because he'll get the attack and then you can give it to another. So if he's there, he gets big, and then Zeus gets big, which you want Zeus to get big because he's your weakest monster on board. So he becomes, I think it was 1800 attack they both get, so they're immediately 46 4k. So it's like, have fun running them over, and that is for the turn. And then the last Xyz we're playing is 1 Marksman King Tell, just the regular Caesar, and then the new guy, the Solomon. This is what I was talking about. With Lance Soldier making himself level 4, you go into Solomon, and Solomon basically lets you search a thing, and then you'll go on top of him into a Tell, and then you will link 2 into Gilgamesh, and then you'll go Tell 1, Gilgi 2. Gilgi will place 2, because he's unashable because he's placing, and then Tell's going to dump you the Necro Slime, which is just free more real estate. And then we also have a new synchro as well, I forgot to mention, but it's coming up here. We're playing 1 Curse King Siegfried for the spell Trap Negation, and you do gain 1,000 life if he's destroyed, which can come up. And then we're playing Clovis. Clovis is a monster reborn. That's why we play him, because you make him, and then you grab back like another DD card, like another level 6, and then you can make Caesar. And then on to the fusions. We play Flame King Genghis, and he's just another monster reborn. This came up one time, and it won me a game. High Flame King Genghis, which is the same as Genghis, but it's a spell Trap Negate. And then this, pretty much, when they broke my board, but they couldn't kill me, this was game. This guy, because you banish a Link, Pendulum, Synchro, and Xyz Infusion to make him, which you're going through your whole extra deck, so who cares? And I forgot to mention, Clovis and Solomon have an effect when banished. This one gives piercing on attack, so it's pretty much almost always going to be guaranteed 4,000. And then when he also destroys a monster by battle, when this guy does, this guy gives... basically his effect gives him the monster's attack is dealt to your opponent as damage. So this thing can attack a monster each, like your monsters once each, your opponent's monsters once each, and you have both these effects live because they're on banished, and also he has an on summon effect where all monster effects on field are negated, or opponent's monster effects, that's actually really crucial. So when he slaps the board, he's immediate shut off, which is ironic. And then it's just, you just activate these 2 and banished, and you just win the game because your opponent's just like, well, crud. Unless for some reason he's got like an imperm or other something else, then that kind of hurts because the 2 Synchro and Xyz are gained effects, so that kind of hurts there, but it's really rare that it came up, and it never came up during the regional. Now, my side deck, it's obviously a side deck. This is what I picked, so you guys can choose your own. But I did 3 Dark Rulers, 3 Lightning Storms, because it came back to 3. Should have never went to 2. And then 1 Harpies, just for back row hate and monster hate to an extent. Then my Nibs, just because it's never really needed half the time. But other than that, yeah. And then this is for the Draco Tail matchup. What really kind of infuriated me, but I'm glad they didn't do it, is they never, ever Arthalion target my 2 bodies on board, or 2 of my bodies on board, and bounce them back to my hand. They always go for the follow-up. If they had bounced my bodies back to hand, I'm passing turn, and it probably would have been a game over, because they had gas in hand to kill me that turn. I was just like, why? Why don't you guys ever look at the board state and be like, man, I should bounce his stuff back? But hey, they didn't, and it resulted in, them losing games and matches to me. So, good enough for me. And then the last one, this is for any like Yummy BS or Fiendsmith, because if this hits the board and they chain a Yummy card or a Fiendsmith, the Yummy link or the Fiendsmith link ones, I'm drawing a card and I'm not shuffling back, because there is no more links on the board to shuffle back. I just met its activation requirements. That's all I need to do. So you're getting a +1, and then you're not having to shuffle back, which can be rough because you didn't want to see a certain Garnet in hand or like an extender because you had the Searcher for it in hand already. But in this deck, you have other things you can search for. So it kind of just is like you can use it as bait, or you have it as a cracked extension. This deck is a lot of extension for the little searchers it has. But pretty much, yeah, that's the deck profile. Deck's really good. Not a lot of people know what it does because, again, it's Pendulum, and everybody's either scared of Pendulum or they don't know how to read Pendulum. And with D-Barrier banned, you don't have to worry about, them going first, citing in D-Barriers, and then calling Pendulum, and then you're just like, well, crap, I can't play the game. So, you're doing just fine. But, I would really appreciate it, though, guys, if you could leave me a like, subscribe if you're new. It really helps out. I'm, trying to upload more, even though my schedule's kind of whack, and I'm really random with it. But, but the more I get, the more I'm willing to do more, I guess. But I would really love to make this a fun thing. So, but again, subscribe, like, and share, and have a great rest of your day. Peace. That's it. You get it?